Hey guys, sorry I haven't given you any notice for this. Hold on, just let me put this on silent for a minute. I'm not set up at all. Okay, all right. So there's a press conference happening any second now. You can see we're waiting for the police to arrive. So sorry you've got no notice at all. But this is what it's like with press conferences. This is regarding the Nicola Bulley case. I'm just setting up my other computer so I can get the chat up. Well, I'm muted. Hold on. Am I muted now? Oh, you were muted. I was going to say I'm not muted. All right. All right. You can hear me okay, yeah? All right. Good stuff. All right. So any second now, there is a press conference. Just a second while I set up my other computer. I just happened to search for Nicola Bulley for any updates, and then I knew there was a press conference today, but I didn't know what time. So I hadn't even set up my stream or anything. So it's a good job I checked. Right, good stuff. Okay, I think we're pretty much set up now. Hold on, I'll just put us on subscribers only mode so we don't get any silliness. Just a second. As soon as we see them arriving, then obviously I'll turn the sound back on. Okay. Just watched my video from yesterday. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I put a video out a couple of hours ago. I've not even got my charger in this room. I'll be okay for the time being. Might have to dash off and get my charger. But we should be okay. Let me see what we're on. 15%. We should be okay for the press conference. I don't know what time it's scheduled for. Actually, I am just going to go and get my charger. Noticed this on Twitter and came straight here. Yeah, well, it's a good job I was. So I'm streaming this from... Where am I even streaming this from? The Daily Mirror. All right, give me a second. I'm just going to go and get my charger. All right, I'm back. I think they're doing sound checks and stuff like that at the moment. Let's just listen in. Yeah, still doing sound checks, so we've got a while. I don't know what time, like I said, this is scheduled for. Let me just plug my charger in. It's not good when you're not prepared, is it? It's not good. Here we go. Here we go. Right, I'm going to move.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now been 11 days since Nicola Bulley, a 45-year-old mother of two, went missing here in St Michael's in Lancashire. It remains and always has been our priority to find Nicola as soon as possible and to bring her back to her family. Her family continues to be supported by specially trained officers who update the family daily and support them in other ways. I want to take you through the unprecedented number of inquiries that the police team has been doing in the last 11 days. We've received literally thousands of pieces of information from the public, the wider community, Nicola's family and friends, which we've been combing through diligently. This means at the moment there are around 500 active pieces of information and lines of inquiry that we're working on to try and find answers for Nicola's family. We have a team of 40 or so detectives under a senior investigating officer working daily to comb through this enormous amount of information. This is normal in a missing person inquiry and does not indicate that there is any suspicious element to this story. The inquiry team remains fully open-minded to any information that may indicate where Nicola is or what happened to her. Some of the specific pieces of information and the lines of inquiry that they've been undertaking include house to house in the village, looking at CCTV, the various pieces of dashcam that have been submitted to the inquiry, identifying and tracing and speaking to key witnesses, a number of whom have come into the inquiry and been spoken to and given valuable information. Digital and telephony, this includes Nicola's Fitbit and her mobile phone, which has been fully examined. And we've now identified around 700 vehicles that drove through the village on that morning, on the 27th of January at around 9:10, 9:15. And we're in the process of speaking to all of those drivers to try and find out if they have any dash cam footage, what they saw on that day, or anything else that may be of value to the police inquiry. We remain very grateful to all of our partners and the wider community for the help they've given. In particular, and I've mentioned some of these in the past, this includes His Majesty's Coast Guard, Lancashire Fire and Rescue, Lancaster Area and Bowland Mountain Rescue, other forces and national experts in different fields, as well as the Specialist Group International, or SGI, who have offered their assistance to the family free of charge and have been working under the direction of our local police search teams to help us. Our work around the search of the river and the riverbank continues, and this includes many pieces of different technical equipment, including sonar, pole cameras, drones, underwater drones, and so on, as well as specialist dogs. As I said on Friday, the river is a complex area to search. It's not a still water, it's a fast-flowing, moving water that is tidal in parts. And as acknowledged by some of the many national search advisors and experts that we've been consulting throughout, this makes it particularly complex. We have already discounted particular areas of the river, but as they are tidal, we have researched them to ensure that nothing has been washed back into those search areas. This is why you may see some areas already searched being researched for no other reason than it is tidal. We have 6 people searching the riverbanks every day. These are specially trained search officers who are very experienced both in missing people inquiries and in other inquiries, who are systematically and methodically searching the riverbank and the open ground. We also have a number of divers from the Regional Underwater Search Unit, and they are working with SGI and the other partners that I have mentioned to search the river itself. Throughout this investigation, as I've said, we remain fully open to any information that is credible and factual to try and trace Nicola and bring answers for her family. But it does remain our belief that Nicola sadly fell into the river and that this is a missing person inquiry. And it is important to stress that any information that comes in that indicates otherwise is being checked out all the time and negated as each inquiry comes up. We're not closed in any way to any particular line of inquiry, and we remain genuinely open to that. All these extensive inquiries, however, have so far not found anything of note. Any indications of physical objects in the river, such as natural debris, trees and the like, have been already identified by the original divers and discounted. So further sightings of that debris are only items that we already knew were on the riverbed or in the riverbank. We would ask that people in the wider community, particularly on social media and online, do not speculate as to what may have happened to Nicola. This is particularly hurtful to her family, to her children, to her partner Paul, her parents, her sister, and her friends, because it's not helpful to them, it's distressing, and it's distracting for the police inquiry. Nor is it helpful if people, particularly if they come from outside of the area, take it upon themselves to take the law into their own hands by trying to, for example, break into empty property. They may mean well, they may want to help, but they can help in thinking back, if they were in the area, to what information they may have of relevance to the police and holding the family in their thoughts. But we will not tolerate online abuse of anyone, including innocent witnesses, of members of the family and friends, of local businesses, or of criminal damage or burglary. And we will be taking a strong line on that, as you would expect. We have engaged with and worked shoulder to shoulder with a number of very specific experts, as I mentioned earlier. These include the National Crime Agency, who have reviewed all of the police investigations so far and have not identified any other lines of inquiry other than what we had already identified. Likewise, we are working with the National Search Advisor, the Police National Search Advisor, who again has not identified anything in the search strategy or the search area, the physical parameters that we have not already explored. And I say this to reassure the local community in particular, as well as Nicola's family, that all possible lines of inquiry, search or investigation are being exhausted. I'm just going to reiterate, for those who may not have caught some of the earlier detail, some of the key elements of this case that may jog somebody's memory if they were about on Friday morning, the 27th of January. We know that Nicola was last seen on the upper field next to the River Wyre here in St Michael's at 9:10. She had taken her spaniel Willow out for a walk, and CCTV that we've looked at shows that Nicola did not leave either the allotment lane exit of that riverside area, nor the Rowan Water Caravan Park, which has been discounted, nor any of the other locked or areas covered by CCTV. As I said Friday, this only leaves the path along Garstang Lane onto the A586, which is not covered by CCTV, but the more of those 700 or so vehicle drivers that we can identify and who can confirm that they have neither dashcam footage or saw anything on that morning will help us to close that very small gap. We can say with confidence, therefore, that we believe Nicola remained in the riverside area. I understand that this is frustrating for those observing the investigation when the river has been searched and Nicola has not been found. That does not mean, however, that Nicola was not in the river at some point due to the tidal flow of the river. For this reason, our search of the river and the riverbanks extends out to the sea, particularly the area from Knott End out towards Morecambe. So we continue to appeal for drivers on that morning, and I will remind people of Nicola's description, the clothing that she was wearing, and her movements on that day. Nicola is a white lady, 5'3", with shoulder-length brown hair. She speaks with an Essex accent. She was last seen wearing a knee-length black gilet jacket and underneath an Engelbert Strauss black long-sleeve jacket to the waist. She was wearing black jeans, long green walking socks tucked into her jeans, and green ankle-length wellies. She has her hair tied in a ponytail and was wearing a pale blue Fitbit. I have a small number of detail extra to the timeline that I provided on Friday that fills in some of the gaps on the morning that Nicola disappeared. They include that at 8:26 a.m, Nicola left her home address with her children, and I know there's been CCTV images from her from her doorbell footage, that have been released that may jog someone's memory. At 8:40, Nicola dropped her children off at school here in St Michael's. At 8:43, she was seen on the river path towards the gate and the bench on the lower field. At 8:47, someone who knows Nicola saw her walking along the lower field with her dog, and the two dogs briefly interacted together. At 8:53, she sent an email to her boss. At 8:59, she sent a message to a friend. At 9:01, she logged onto a Teams call. And at 9:10, we have the last confirmed sighting of Nicola on the upper field walking her dog. We know from telephony work that her phone was located on the bench at 9:20. At 9:30, the Teams call ended, but Nicola's phone stayed logged in. And at 9:33, approximately, her phone and her dog were found by another witness who doesn't know her. I would ask people to dig back into their memory 11 days ago to that morning and to phone us on 101, or if there's a sighting of Nicola, on 999, or I do now have an email address for direct contact into the investigation room for us to receive email. Details of this are published on our website. It is Nicola Bulley, spelt EY, investigation, all one word, Nicola Bulley investigation at lancashire.police.uk. Nicola Bulley investigation at lancashire.police.uk. I just want to end by holding Nicola's family in our thoughts. This is an agonising time for them, particularly her two little girls who are only 6 and 9. It's very, very distressing for them not to have found Nicola, and to ask everyone to remain constructive, cooperative with the inquiry, not to do anything that would thwart us and hold us back from trying to find Nicola as quickly as possible, to remain respectful to each other in the search, that's including the inquiry team and the local people for whom this is also very difficult. This is a tight-knit community of people who have come out in force, as have our partners, and I would thank them again very much for their work so far. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
I'll go with the Mitchell from Talk TV. Last night, your independent expert, Peter Thornton, told our channel that he did not believe that Nicola was in the water. He said he believes the phone could be a decoy, that there could be third-party involvement. How helpful is that for you when the police is saying its hypothesis is that she somehow fell into the water, and yet you've got part of the team investigating this case basically contradicting you?
Well, I thank SGI for the help that they've given to the team. As I said before, our search has not found Nicola in the river, and then a research in parts by SGI found the same. That does not mean, as I said a few minutes ago, that Nicola has not been in the river. And in the light of other inquiries being discounted from the investigation so far, although we are keeping an absolutely open mind to anything new, then clearly our main belief is that Nicola did fall into the river. Clearly, Mr. Folding isn't included within all the investigation detail, any more than the members of the public are that I'm briefing through these sorts of press conferences. So we would ask that we be allowed time to continue with those inquiries and to release to the public only what is relevant for them at that time. Thank you. I'll just take another question. Thank you.
Susan O'Reilly, it's the 12th day that Nicola Bulley has been missing. Every day concerns will increase, no doubt, for everyone. How confident are you that your team will find Nicola alive?
It is 12 days since Nicola's been missing, and clearly a 15-kilometre stretch of the river is a complex, difficult and moving body of water to search. I do believe that we will find Nicola, but the nature is a powerful force, changes our parameters constantly, which is why we are bringing in the number of experts that we have, so that all the best brains and trained people in the country can give us the absolute best chance of finding Nicola. Thank you. Thank you.
You mentioned about 700 vehicles that came through. Can you give us some idea of what percentage of the 700 vehicles, first of all, give us some idea of how many do you think the number or percentage of those 700 vehicles that you identified or seen?
Well, I don't have a number for you, but a number of vehicles have already submitted dash cam footage. We know that around that number passed through the village that morning. Clearly not everyone has dash cam footage. So information is coming in literally by the hundreds, if not thousands, almost every day. And therefore it will take us some time to wade through that information. Say again, sorry. Is there something like an exit camera and an entry camera to each end of this room? Well, I'm not going to talk about sort of how that those vehicles have been identified, but suffice to say we have identified them. We are in the process of writing to all of them to ask them to come forward and either confirm or negate whether they have anything that they could help us with. That's not being done in door-to-door terms. You've got to be very knocking on. Well, clearly not all drivers are local, so we are writing to all those who aren't in the local area, but as I said before, extensive house-to-house has been done, so if they're in the village, they will have been spoken to. Thank you. Hello.
You've reiterated today that the hypothesis you're working with is that Nicola fell into the river and didn't leave the riverside. But obviously after the press conference last week, her friends and family were very quick to come back and say, actually, there's a CCTV camera which is broken, which would have seen a lot of the action of that day. And there's been observations made by other police experts who basically said, how can the police at this stage, with the information that's in the public domain that they've read about from newspapers or the rest of it, how can they rule out, foul play? So I just wonder what you would say to those concerns raised by kind of other people who are observing this case externally, but also Nicola's family and friends about, have all of those avenues thoroughly been checked to completely rule out that possibility?
As I said before, we will not be conducting all elements of the investigation in the public eye. You would not expect us to. That would not be the normal way things are done anyway. But I would like to reassure the community that nothing in this investigation so far, it has been checked out. If it's come into it suggesting crime, it has been checked out and discounted. So every single potential third-party line of inquiry, any potential suspicious or criminal element has been looked at and discounted. Now, people who observe and make comment on it in the media, even if they have experience of policing, clearly are not in the inquiry team and will not be privy to all of that. But the fact that the National Crime Agency peer review has absolutely wholeheartedly not identified any other line of inquiry that we have not already started looking at or completed should give reassurance to the wider public.
In what sort of detail have you searched the wider riverside area away from the water?
Well, I'm not able to give exact distances from the river to the riverbank, but clearly if Nicola has entered the water and got into distress and ended up on the riverbank, you know, struggling to cope with the fast-moving water, then clearly the riverbank, the immediate riverbanks have been our main area of search. But as I think I said last Friday, we've searched to within a mile radius of the point that she last went missing. And the publicity has been such now that I think local anglers, wildfowlers, people enjoying the countryside, dog walkers, local residents, people who work in the local area will be very, very aware of Nicola's description of this case, of all the publicity that's been generated, and will be looking out in those wider areas. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you been able to obtain any information from Nicola's fitness devices?
That remains ongoing, but nothing so far that has indicated any particular helpful piece of information. Thank you. Thank you.
In terms of CCTV, would that include the car put in, which is further down the river? I gather you only got that footage, I think, yesterday.
I'm not able to give very specific details of CCTV beyond the local village. I am aware what's been done in the local village, but everything of relevance to the river and the riverside is being considered. So I'm sure that is as well. Thank you. Hello.
No working hypothesis is that Nikki went into the river. As that's continuing to be scanned and checked over by the specialist search teams, how much extra resource in the coming days do you expect to put into other lines of inquiry?
Well, as I said, the team of detectives are number around 40. That is under constant review. So if the search area becomes too wide or the investigation too complex, as the senior investigating officer over that inquiry team will immediately ask for further resources. You know, we're a reasonably sized force. We are very used to bringing in officers from other parts of the county. This is clearly garnering national publicity, and we will be very quick to move them in if we need to, and if we have to go to regional or even national support. We're very open to being led by the facts, to putting whatever is needed to this investigation to it. But I am satisfied with assurances from the senior investigating officer that that she has all of the investigation resources that she needs at this time. Thank you. I'll just take the gentleman behind you, and then I'll come back to you. No problem.
You mentioned that Amazon investigators are trying to break into property. Can you elaborate?
Well, there are some properties along the riverside which are empty or derelict. Whilst it may be well intentioned that people think that that could be a line of inquiry, I would ask them to desist from doing that. In some cases, it may be criminal if they're breaking in and causing damage or committing a burglary. We have gone into derelict property, including ones on the riverside, any under renovation that are empty, with the permission of those owners and their knowledge. We have searched houses matching that sort of profile on the river bank, including the grounds. Because there is no criminal element yet identified, and we don't expect there to be in this inquiry, then we're not starting to go into houses because that's not where the inquiry is leading us. Thank you.
Just like you said, that because nothing had been found in the river, that doesn't mean that Nicola didn't enter the water. in the same ilk, because nobody's seen her leaving this Garston Lane entrance or exit, doesn't mean that she couldn't have. Is there any chance that Nicola could have left by that way, either by herself or with somebody else?
Yes, that is a possibility, but that's why we appeal for drivers to come forward to try and close off that avenue, or to at least explain and negate any sightings on that lane. The lane between the Riverside on Garstang Lane onto the A586 isn't long. People may have forgotten, they may have been away on holiday and missed much of this publicity. So if that is you and you've returned from holiday or returned from an absence, and this incident has sort of largely passed you by till now, I would ask you to think back to Friday the 27th and whether you were on Garstang Lane, and help us exactly close that gap. Thanks.
Well, why will you stop searching the river?
We'll stop searching the river when all the national expert advice and our own staff confirm to us that there is nothing further to be gained by doing that. However, that does not mean that other inquiries might not continue. So I've mentioned already that the search is extended as far as the sea. Morecambe Bay, for those who know it, is a very wide bay, and the area from Knott End towards Morecambe is particularly rural. So there will be other elements that will remain being searched. People might not see the river itself being searched, but the inquiry team continues to work really diligently far into the evening every single day to try and close anything else off. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to leave that email address up on the screen, at least for the time being, while I address some comments in the chat. And then I'm going to get the map up, and I'm going to show you the bay, Morecambe Bay, and the places where people should be looking if you're in the area. All right. I'm going to try to keep my cool. All right. If asked to stay, would have been seen, it would have seen the direction she went later, tried to go that way, but the dog just goes in circles. Yeah, because Nicola did not leave via the gate. And if you tell any dog, right, particularly a spaniel, to sit and stay, they will override that command if they feel that it's useful to do so. Spaniels have been bred to hunt. Spaniels have been bred, particularly Springer Spaniels, have been bred to flush birds out of hedgerows, brushland, etc. That's the name Springer Spaniel, because they spring into the bushes, flush the birds, so the birds can be shot. So in order to do that, they work independently. And while they're keeping an eye on their human, they use their better judgment. So they're one of the most intelligent dog breeds there is. Meanwhile, they're not the most easy to train for exactly that reason. Being a Springer Spaniel slave, servant, I know this. I've spent my entire life from being about 12 years old in the company of Springer Spaniels. My auntie and uncle used to rescue Springer Spaniels, and I grew up with numerous Springers coming through their lives. My daughter currently has 4 Springer Spaniels, and I've got 1. So, yeah. Okay. I think Willow knew exactly where she'd gone. I think Willow knew exactly where she's gone. And the thing that Peter, who is the mouthpiece of SGI, a mouthy mouthpiece of SGI, and I'm going to try and stay polite about Peter. I'm not saying that his organisation don't do good things. And I won't be negative about anybody who wants to go and search for Nicola. However, what Peter appears to be doing is drumming up resentment and giving a contradictory message, not only contradicting the police, which he's got a right to do, but also contradicting himself. Because he was on the news a few days ago saying that, yeah, you know, she could be in the river. However, you know, with his equipment, he'd have found her within the hour. Go and check back the news pieces that he did. And that he found someone in 10 minutes on a previous search. And, you know, searchers had gone over that area 12 times. And then he went in the water and found her, or him, within 10 minutes. And then yesterday, when it was agreed that they could go and start work, he said, she's in the river. And she's gone past the weir. So, because they did a walkabout, and I heard with my own ears when I was there yesterday, one of Peter's co-workers telling people there that they believed she'd gone in the weir, gone past the weir, which is a few hundred yards from where the phone and Willow were found. And they spent the morning doing a walkabout on the banks, and then they spent the rest of the day searching past the weir. They didn't find her. But it's since come to light that some of Peter's high-tech equipment can't cope with the river wire. So I think he's bitten off more than he can chew. So he's gone now back to the phone as a decoy hypothesis that he broached on the news before it was agreed he could go and search. And because on a previous investigation, he knew that a shoe had been left by the side of the river as a decoy. So he did a briefing this morning, 2-minute briefing, which I played on the video that I put out about 2 hours ago as I record this. So go and watch it. It's towards the beginning, within the first 5 minutes of that video. So go and watch it. And he said that they were going to search the piece of the river upstream, up to 2 miles upstream, 2 miles upstream. 2 miles upstream, the river is just a little piddly, not much more than a stream. And it's very easy to search that. Very easy. And it would be very easy for Peter to come online and say, we haven't found her, therefore she's not in the river. Because he's gone back to his phone as a decoy hypothesis and saying the only evidence that there is the phone on the bench. And he's completely forgetting the most important piece of evidence, actually the only piece of evidence in this case, is Willow. So there's that. No, I don't think so, because she was wearing full winter wear. As long as it takes the body to decompose. The thing about the hedgerows, so I'm going to get my footage up that I took yesterday. But before I do, I'm just going to check that there's not any nonsense going on in the chat, because people don't like the truth. Go and watch my videos for the theories that I think. Go and watch my videos. I've got a playlist where I've kind of developed, and I put my latest ideas in a video online just a couple of hours ago. No, they've searched in the buildings. In the buildings. They've searched the buildings. Now, they've not gone inside private residences. They've not searched every single house. What she said was they've searched derelict buildings and buildings under renovation, which includes, it was searched within the first day, I think, the what people are calling the abandoned house. The media called it the abandoned house at first, but it's this house here. You can't really see it very well on the map, and you can't see it very well on in real life either. Okay, so the bench is here, and this is the house. So it's a huge house, and it isn't abandoned. The owner is there regularly. It's not abandoned. It's undergoing extensive renovation. So the absolute clown, the TikToker who went there, I think that's who she's referring to, went there and decided to trespass because they saw a light on. And, oh, this abandoned house has got heating and lighting. Yeah, it does. Wow, it does. Do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? Because it's undergoing renovation. And what do people need when they're renovating properties? They need electricity and light. So, of course, it has utilities. So please don't go and trespass on private property, you absolute clown, you piece of shit. And you can quote me on that. Quote me on it. Go on. I dare you. Clip channel, quote me on it. You're a big piece of shit. Yeah, the family did take the dog back. And Willow doesn't know anything more now than she knew then. Because the last time she saw Nicola was when she was in the river. We'll look at all the exits in a minute. Exactly. All right, so before we get back to the map, because I want to show you the exits, and I want to show you Morecambe Bay and where to search if you're in the area. But please be safe. But I'll get onto that. So what I'm going to pull up is my video from this morning to start this video. But I'm only going to show you, just let me share my tab here. I'm only going to show you certain bits of it because I want people to go and watch it, because it took me a long time to put this together, and I want people to watch it in its entirety, if you don't mind, because I think being there yesterday, as I said in my live when I got back yesterday, it's given me a very good feel. That's Peter. I'm going to get off him because it's going to make me mad. I've got a very good feel for that very small area. I mean, it's less than a mile to go from here, where I'm walking now, which is, this is the road right here. So this is the Iron Bridge. So you've got a walkway over the river here, and you've got a road that goes by it. So I think, actually, we'll just talk about the exit while we're here. So if you go right out of here, almost immediately within, I'd say within 100 yards, there's a pub, a bar called The Grapes, and that's got CCTV. Now, if you go that way, there's a stretch of road, and I think there probably isn't going to be CCTV down there for a while, until maybe it gets to some properties that may or may not have Ring doorbells. So that's Blackpool Lane. It's not Garstang Lane, it's Blackpool Lane. So that's an important area, kind of moving out. If we go, so that's the Grapes. So that's the Iron Bridge right there. That's the Iron Bridge right there. So that's the lead in. That's where I was walking just a second ago. Go this way. Now, if you go this way, go right. Right there, just right there, is the Grapes. And that's where all the media are hanging out. All right, so that place has cameras. Now, if you go this way, however, okay, so Blackpool Lane, you've got nothing on this side. It's farmers' fields for as far as you can see, and all the way past Garstang Road. Like this Blackpool Lane turns onto Garstang Road, and then you've got private residences. You've got, I don't know what that is, a little place. You've got private residences, and there's nothing else other than private residences. There's a church up here. I remember passing it. But it could be that there's a stretch turning left out of that river path that they've not managed to get any CCTV from. But all of that's just private residences. There is a church somewhere along here. Maybe I've passed it. There's also a stretch further up Garstang Road that I've identified where potentially someone could get out. However, I really don't believe she's gone that way. I don't believe it. But if we move back to this, and so the river path goes down past the weir, and then the weir, from the weir downwards, downstream into Morecambe Bay, it's about 10 miles, 12 miles from the weir to the estuary. It's tidal. The bench where Nicola went in, allegedly, or at least where Willow was, is here. So there's the bench. That's a few hundred yards. It goes like round a bit of a loop, a few hundred yards from the weir. So Peter is saying this is a slow flowing river, and you know, it's not tidal. Only parts of it are tidal. How can only parts of it be tidal? Anyway, so Peter is doing the easy thing, and he's searching back. He's searching back. Oh dear. Dear. Garstang Lane, A586. A586 is Blackpool Road. But yeah, it's called Garstang Road. Okay, so I was watching Cassie very carefully while she was here, because Cassie loves water. And I want you to watch Cassie's behaviour. And I want you to put in chat what you can observe. No, Leo, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. If I didn't laugh, I'd be very, very sweary. I said, I'm not going to say anything negative about anybody who has agreed to go and search. However, I'll reiterate what I said before, that his contradictory statements, not only contradicting the police, which he's entitled to do, but contradicting himself is not helpful. And it's drumming up resentment, which is not helpful. So quite frankly, if I didn't laugh, I would be very, very, very angry. So I paused it while I'm talking here, but did you notice what Cassie was doing at the edge of this bank? Did you notice what Cassie was doing at the edge of this bank? Cassie seems unsure, not sure if she could go in or not. Anybody who's watched this video already, and it has only been online for 2 hours, will know the answer to this. The reason why is because the top of this edge here, it's a 10 to 12 foot drop to the river. And you can see this when they've taken, where is it? There. When they've taken, do it full screen. Oh, that is full screen. Maybe it's easier to zoom in that way, like that. So that's where Cassie was running up and down, trying to find a way to get into the river. Right, you can see here a diver. Now there is a kind of an old, like several steps that have been built into the banking, presumably built in to try and help anybody get out. But this diver, you know, with all his equipment on, he's been helped out. But this, if you fall in here, or even topple in here, right, he's presumably standing on the bottom. So the river's shallow at that banking, right? It's only up to his arse. But assuming that he's like a normal sized human, and assuming this person's a normal sized human, what can you observe about the height of that bank? So from the edge to the bottom of the river, what can you observe? And it's a sheer drop down. None of the photos do it justice. It's a sheer drop down. It's at least 10 feet high, because assuming that this person is a normal sized human and he's like, I don't know, 5.5, 6 foot, and assuming that this person is also a normal sized human, you're looking at least 10 foot, at least. So Cassie is not stupid. She is not going to take a leap of faith and jump 10 feet down. Now, Cassie has been known to be reckless, right? I did keep her on her line at this point, because she has been known to be reckless. And if she had taken a leap of faith, I would have been able to just pull her back. However, she didn't. And you saw her on camera running up and down, trying to find a place in. Because spaniels love water. So the reason why Willow was dry, having observed this area for myself, and with the benefit of this photo, which was, I think, either taken, must have been taken from the opposite bank, I realise now why Willow didn't jump into the river after Nicola. It's because she was too scared to take that leap of faith, even though her favourite human was there. The police were slow, really. No, they weren't. Please provide evidence as to how the police were slow. How slow were they? Please provide evidence for that. Because if you'd done a modicum of research, you would know that the first search and rescue team was deployed at 12 noon on the 27th of January. So within 2 hours of the 999 call being made, search and rescue teams were being deployed. They started that river search that very day. They had boots on the ground that very day. They had search dogs out that very day. Prove me wrong. So no, they weren't slow. And this is what I mean about the likes of certain people who went on the news, did not know the case, still probably doesn't know the case, right? And are contradicting themselves whilst they're doing it, drumming up nonsense. So I'll leave you to watch this video because I've outlined my theory of, I think, what happened. But while we're here, this is Lowerfield. Okay. So Nicola was seen by multiple people walking along Lowerfield. This is the hedgerow that separates Lowerfield from Upperfield. And no, it is not true. It is not true, absolutely not true, that Willow would be confused by the hedgerow if she didn't know where Nicola went. Like if she'd been distracted by, oh, I don't know, like tasty treats or something, right? Because spaniels work by scent because of their breeding, because they've been bred specifically to flush birds. They do that by scent. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for the £5. That's very kind. They do that by scent. That's why they make such excellent tracking dogs, because you're taking that natural ability that they've been bred for. You know, like I don't want to go flushing birds and shooting them because I'm vegan and I don't think the birds should be shot. And definitely not bred to be shot. So I take my dog's natural ability and I use it in other ways. So Cassie is learning how to track. And you can ask any police force in the UK, what is the main breed of dog that they use for drug detection, cadaver work, etc., etc. It's the Springer Spaniel in the UK. The sense of smell is almost as good as a bloodhound. They don't work by sight. Like, I laugh at Cassie because I can see a cat. she can't see it. I mean, dogs are our main sense of our main sense is vision, right? We rely on our eyes, then our hearing, and then our sense of smell. Dogs are the opposite. They rely on the sense of smell, then the hearing, then the sight, and they only focus on something in the environment if it's moving. So I can see a cat in the undergrowth. She can't see it until it either moves and then she'll spot it, or she gets the scent of it, like the scent on the air, and then she's off. Thank you, Rita, for the 19.99 Canadian dollars. That is very kind of you. It's very generous of you. So you could have blindfolded Willow. You could have blindfolded Willow. Actually, there are a handful of breeds of dog whose sense of smell during hunting they don't rely on, and that's sight hounds. So greyhounds, whippets, Salukis, Afghan hounds, Boysois, Pharaoh hounds, Beathan hounds. There's probably a handful of others who have been specially bred to rely on sight, but they've still got superb sense of smell, but they do hunt by sight, but definitely not spaniels. So you could have blindfolded Willow and abducted Nicola, and Willow would have been able to find her. So this is the hedgerow that the two fields are separated by, and this is a high road, like a path, because this is a flood defence. So the natural ground is this field, and then this is raised up by quite a number of feet because it's a flood defence, because this river floods. So this is the river that Peter's searching. He's getting his it's not much more than a paddling pool. So let's go to the confluence. I shouldn't laugh, you know, because he could be right, although he isn't. All right, so this is when I went in. You can see Cassie was in. Soon as she found a bank that wasn't deep, she was in, went for a swim. I would estimate it was between 3 and 4 feet in the middle, and the ground is sand. I was poking my stick in it, and I went into probably mid-shin. I wasn't up to my knees. The spaniel wasn't trained to sniff. It is their natural ability. Were you trained to see, Wendy? Were you trained to see? When you were born, did they have to train you to see? Did they have to train you to smell anything, right? Could you not smell anything until they trained you to do it? Oh, man. When we say we train a dog to track, we're honing their natural ability. A spaniel's natural ability is to use their sense of smell as their primary sense. An untrained dog uses its sense of smell as its primary sense. All you're doing when you train a dog to track, either drug work, human scent work, cadaver work, etc., you're honing that skill to focus on a specific scent and to give an alert when they find that specific scent. Grandma, thank you for the $1.99. Do we know how old Willow is? We don't know how old Willow is. I don't know how old Willow is, but she looks like a young adult to me. All right, so we get to the confluence of this river. So that's actually riverbed, right? But because the river's really low at the moment, it's obviously exposed. But this is the River Wyre, and the reason why it gets a lot bigger, a lot quicker, is because of this here. So the River Wyre is here, and it's joined at this point. This is right at the back of the upper field. Nicola's got pictures of this. Obviously, Nicola liked this view. She's got pictures of this on her social media. So maybe Nicola went here and then turned back. That's what I'm thinking. So the River Wyre's here, as you can see, very shallow, paddling pool kind of, you know, type thing. It's probably as deep as a baby pool, like your local swimming, you know, your local swimming baths. I bet kids play in it in summer. I wouldn't have a problem with a kid playing in that in summer. It's very clean water, actually. With obviously with adult supervision, I think kids would love to play in there. When I was paddling in it, do you know what I thought of? I thought of little Summer Wells, and I thought Summer would have loved this. Summer would have loved this. Summer would have loved this. If I made this vow to Summer a long time ago, that if Summer's found alive, one day when she's grown up, I want to pay for her to come to England, and I want to show her all the walks that I took when she was missing, when she was a little baby. And one of the places I'd bring her now is here, because I thought of her when I was here. Anyway, this the River Wyre here gets a lot bigger, a lot quicker, because it gets a second water source coming in. This I don't know the name of this little, it's almost like a stream coming in. And then it goes round a bend here, it like curves round, and then it straightens back up, and then it goes past the bench, and then it goes to the weir. And it obviously widens out a lot because it's got the benefit of two water sources. So where Peter wants to search is upstream for about 2 miles. This is what he said this morning, and it's going to take them several days to do it. Why? It's nothing more than a stream. Is it because it's easy? Maybe he said 2 miles and he misspoke. Maybe they'll get there and realise it's a little stream and they'll not bother. Because I can tell you, Nicola is not there. The River Brook. It's called the River Brook. Okay. Oh, the River Brock. Okay, River Brock. All right. So it's a little river. It's honestly not much more than a stream. Yeah, so it joins the Wyre. I mean, you know, all the northwest of England is rivers. There's so many of them. But most of them are very silty. Inland, they're clay. They're very sticky at the bottom. Whereas the coastal ones are silty. They're sand. And they're pretty dangerous when they're silty, because, you know, you can think that it's shallow and you can see the bottom, and then you stand in it and it's literally quicksand, you know, and you'll sink. That's why I had my walking pole. That's particularly why I took it, so that if I went in the river, I could feel ahead to make sure that it was solid. And that point in the middle, I put my pole in, I couldn't feel the bottom, and I didn't step. And it wasn't because I thought I would drown, because I would easily get out, but I might lose my shoes and I'd have to do the walk of shame back through a village that smells like CHORLEY and isn't my local area. If it was my local area, I'd have gone in and filmed it, like I did the other day when I did the creek demo and got stuck in mud. Anyway, so crack on, Peter. I hope you're doing a grand job there. All right, so go and watch that video, please. It's 20, nearly 30 minutes of your time, but I've taken the footage that I took yesterday and I've laid it all out, having thought about it for 24 hours, and I've put together what I think happened. Are they using drones? Yes, they've been using drones since day one. There was actually a drone operator there yesterday while I was there. He's not on this footage, but he'll be on the footage. He actually might be, because I edited this. He might actually, no, he's been cut off. But he was, so that's Rowan water that's been cleared. But I'll show you that on the map. Yeah, so on the stretch of the lower, the path of this is the lower field now, I think. On the stretch going up to back to the bench, there was a drone operator up there with his drone going over the river again. I mean, it's been gone over multiple times, not only by the official searchers, but by people who've got drones, who've just took their drone there and gone up and done it themselves. So private individuals. There's a local search effort. There's information on where to go to like check in if you want to go and join the volunteer search effort. And yeah, so there was a team of searchers there, just locals out there while I was there yesterday afternoon. So the whole village is out there. I mean, there's people walking those fields every day because it's a very popular walking route. It's an easy walk for dogs in pajamas. Yes, I saw a dog in pajamas. For elderly people walking dogs, it's a very easy walk because it's very flat. There's no hazards. You know, that river walk from the road, you know, just on that paved bit, and then on this bit, which is a flood defence, very easy walk, no hazards or anything. You know, so it's a popular dog walking route. Thank you. I think that says Jackie for the £4.99. I can't believe that lots of people are saying her husband is involved. It's awful, awful, awful what they're doing to Paul. Awful. But it happens in every case that gets some kind of publicity. That's what happens. That is what happens, unfortunately. Unfortunately. All right. Oh, yeah, I did pass the church. Yeah. So this is the A586. It's called Blackpool Lane at this point, and then it changes to Garstang Road. Goes round the corner and changes to Garstang Road. So there's another place where I think you might be able to get out there. So if you went, because these are all obviously private residences with yards, whereas this looks like farmers' fields. So you can walk on farmers' fields as long as you're not disrupting crops, and there's public rights of way through them, even if there's not public rights of way through them. But you're not going to go and trespass on someone's yard and walk through, are you? All right, so one route that I identified as a possible way to get out, and I don't believe this happened, by the way, but I am considering all possibilities. So those of you who are slagging me off, not just in my own chat, but in other chats, who are slagging me off, saying that I'm just focusing on one theory. I never just focus on one theory. Never, ever, ever, ever do I focus on one theory. I've got no skin in the game. If I think Nicola was abducted, I'll tell you I think Nicola was abducted, and I'll be out there looking for a killer before they turn into a serial murderer. I'll be out there. Do you know what? If I really thought there was an abductor on the loose, I'd be there. Right now, I'd be there. I'd be looking for him right now. Right now. Because there's a threat to public safety. But I don't believe. It does smell, it smells a lot like Tory. It really does. It smells a lot like Tory. Like going in my mother's house when my dad was alive, it smelled like Tory. Okay, so, all right. If you vote Tory, have a shake of your head, will you? All right, so get some medication for it. I'm probably sure that there's probably more than one medication on the market that would deal with your affliction. Don't Don't try to seek, hospital treatment for it, though, because you'll end up dying in a corridor in a hospital. Don't get ill. All right, moving on, because I don't do politics because it makes me angry. All right, so this is bench, abandoned house that isn't abandoned, lower field, upper field, walk there. I walked across this field, walked along here. So I walked up there to that place there. That's a little secret beach where I went in. That's the confluence. So River Wyre, River Brock, I'm told. All right, so I think you could walk. If she's not found in the next few days, I'll go and do this walk. I don't think she went this way. Please don't get me wrong. Step away from the politics, yeah. Step away from the politics. All right, so I'll do this walk. Not that I think she's gone this way, for the reason being that Willow would have followed, because it's a very easy route to follow. Willow would have seen her go, let alone smell her go. Right, so walk along here, go to this place here. Now, this place, Rowan Water, has been searched and it's got CCTV. So Rowan Water, this pond and these cabins, right? You can get out that way there. So that's CCTV, so that's off. But I think you might not even be able to get this way, because all that is fenced off. It's at least 6 foot high, obviously because of the water maybe. But I'm wondering whether you can sneak by through those trees, because the river's not. You could actually probably paddle in the River Brock. You could probably paddle along there and then hop onto this path and then go along the river past these residences. And again, it might look easy. It might look easy on the map, and it might not be easy in real life. It's just somewhere that I've highlighted it could be. And it comes out on Garstang Road. And where you get these past these private residences, you see that bank. Oh no, that's the River Wyre, sorry. Where's the River Brock? Oh, the River Brock. Oh yeah, the River Brock's up there, isn't it? So this River Wyre. Alright, so, and come out there and then onto Garstang Road. And there's nothing there except for farmers' fields. But I can't see how an abductor would walk a woman, a struggling woman, leaving Willow at the bench, not tied up. The thing is, if an abductor had abducted Nicola from the bench, wouldn't they have tied Willow up so she couldn't follow? Or would they have just taken Willow and disposed of her? You would think so, wouldn't you? Have they started searching the bay yet? I don't know if anybody's in who's local. I know that Lancashire Police went up to the estuary. They've already gone up to the estuary. It would have gotten very heavy, yeah. What if Nicola never made it to the bench? We know she did make it to the bench. We know she made it to the bench. Or kicked Willow. Well, one kick isn't going to stop a dog. Unless you like kick her in the head and kill her. But she wasn't. She was uninjured. They're searching the bay every day. Okay, thank you, Laura. Laura is local to the area, so they are searching the bay. They were in Knot End with drones. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, they are searching the bay. But it's very rural and it's very expansive, shall we say. So it looks like you can get that way, but to get a struggling woman, all right, why would you? Why wouldn't you just choose an easier victim? So you're taking a struggling woman all the way up here, paddling in the river or walking along the edge, and then you're going to pass all these private residences here, pass all of those, and then you're going to know to come out here in this hedgerow and pop out directly in front of this other private residence, which is what? Just a house. So let's, so this is Garstang Road, nothing here. It's lovely. Just very, very rural in this area. So these are the residences here. So little houses with yards, sheds. All right, so get back here. And then got this place here. I bet that's cameraed. I bet a lot of these properties actually are cameraed. Because, you know, thieves and vagabonds and all that. So that part of Garstang Road might have been cleared anyway. I'm just thinking, you know, for people who think that I'm not thinking outside of the box, I'm just thinking that obviously the police have got an extensive amount of help from the locals in St. Michael's and beyond. Everybody's talking about this. Even where I live, 25 miles away, everybody's talking about this. 4 made it to the bunch, but we don't know if Nicola put it there. Who put it there then? Who put it there? Who put it there? Celia. Not Celia. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I can't read. Cecilia. 4 made it to the bench, but we don't know who put it there. Do you reckon Willow was stood where she's a she, saw Nicola last? Yes. Just doesn't make sense. The dog would be frantic at the last place she could get to. She was. She was. She was highly agitated. But obviously, as humans can't speak dog, it was ignored. I would imagine that she was running up and down the bank like Cassie was. That's what I imagine in my head, that she was running up and down the bank, trying to find a place to get in, but she wasn't going to make that leap of faith, just like Cassie wasn't, just like reckless Cassie wasn't. Look, if you watch my videos and you watch Cassie, she's like a flaming mountain goat. Like, she can go up banks that I think only a mountain goat will go up. But even Cassie was running up and down the bank trying to find a place where she could get in the river. She wasn't going to take that 10-foot drop because dogs aren't stupid. Okay, occasional dogs are stupid, but spaniels are not. They think forward. This is the thing that you don't understand about spaniels. Particularly Springer Spaniel. They think forward. That's why they're not the most trainable animal in the world, because they think forward. They try to outthink you. I'm surprised the dog seemed calm. She wasn't calm. This is the thing. She wasn't calm. She was agitated. And then the clown that found her tied her up while she made inquiries. as to who she might be. All spaniels love water. All spaniels love water. I say all. Maybe there's the odd one that doesn't like getting the feet wet. But all the spaniels I've ever known love water. Could Nicola told Willow to stay put while she went somewhere? No. You tell a spaniel to stay put and you go out of sight, they're not going to stay put. I'm telling you. That's why I'm saying they're not the most trainable dogs in the world, because they think forward. She'd start to worry. She'd stay there for a minute. She'd start to worry, and she'd move. And then if she couldn't find Nicola, she'd go back to the last place she found her. However, what did I say before about spaniels? They've got excellent sense of smell. Springer spaniels' sense of smell is almost as good as that of the bloodhound. That's why they're the #1 dog in the UK used as sniffer dogs. The #1. Like how Tilly was agitating in the video. Yes, when I did my experiment. That's why I didn't take Tilly yesterday, because it would have freaked her out. Trying to tell passers-by. I think she would have been up and down that bank trying to find a way to get in. She heard a human coming and ran to the gate, and then she was running backwards and forwards, agitated. Trying to tell her. Then why did Willow not follow her downriver? Because she wouldn't have known where she went. She wouldn't have known where she went, because one of the things about dogs, right? You can try this with your own dog, right? Get a large blanket that covers the whole of you, right? And put the blanket over you. And the dog is confused, like a baby. They've no, what's the word? Object permanence. They're not very good at object permanence. So if you cover yourself with a blanket, they think you've disappeared. Now, obviously, they can still smell you, so they don't freak out. Right? They don't freak out when you cover yourself in a blanket. But stand up, put a blanket over yourself, film your dog. There's some really funny videos of people doing this, and the dog gets really confused and then really happy when you drop the blanket. Like babies, when you play peekaboo with a baby and they don't know you're there, and they don't know you're there, and then you go peekaboo and then they laugh. They just get confused because they can still smell you, but they can't see you, like dogs. Thought the UK had large CCTV coverage. It does. What do you mean? Surprised nothing has been produced. They've got extensive help from the local community. They've got CCTV. They've got dash cam footage. They've got Ring doorbell footage. They're not going to release it all because it's an active investigation. What they're saying is they've still got a small gap. That's all. They've still got a small gap out of one exit. That's all. That's all. That's why they're appealing for dashcam footage on Gorstang Road, which is where we are right now. We're on Gorstang Road right now, travelling through St. Michael's. A lot of these houses have got Ring doorbells or CCTV or something else. A lot of these businesses, right? Look, there's a garage there. That's going to have CCTV. We're back to the Grapes, CCTV. There's a church down the road there that's presumably got CCTV. So they've just got small gaps, that's all. They're not going to show us, but to say nothing's been produced just because you haven't personally seen it makes me believe that you're not that clear on how police investigations work. The dog was dry. Why was the dog dry? Answers in chat. Why was Willow dry? Answers in chat. Why am I yelling at you? I'm not yelling at you. I'm just stating other opinions. Yeah, but your other opinions aren't based on what is canine behaviour. So, I'm not yelling. She never went in, exactly. Only feet went in. Right, no, you're not listening. So, why did Willow, as a spaniel who loves water, and we know Willow loves water because there's pictures of her wet, why did she not go into the river at the bench location, even though she'd seen Nicola fall over the edge? Thank you, Karen, because she was afraid to jump 10 feet off a steep bank. Wise dog. Exactly. Just like Cassie was a wise dog yesterday when she didn't do it either, when she ran up and down the bank. I've got the footage of it right here. I've just literally played it. But I'm guessing people have just come in. Haven't they? Right, we're going to play this again. We're going to watch Cassie. All right, so this is the video that I put out, 3 hours ago now. So I would like you all to go and watch this. If you've got questions, I want you all to go and watch this video. It's half an hour of your time, but please go and watch it. Because I took the footage that I took yesterday, right, which I showed you in a live yesterday, actually 2 lives. I put it together, edited it, so it's just the most important bits, and talked over it. So we're going to start here. I'm not going to put the sound on because I want you to go and watch it. And we're going to watch Cassie. Right? Watch Cassie when she gets to the bank. So she's on a line, so she is safe, just in case she did take a leap of faith. And I've not got the camera on her all the time because I'm talking. So what's she doing? Oh, and then I was talking about the bank. So I was talking about the bank, and then I showed a photo of the bank. All right, so that's the bank. How high would you think that bank is? So from the top of the bank in there, from the right of the edge to the bottom of the river, how high do you think that is? Bearing in mind, these are normal size humans, not toys, not toy soldiers. So these are normal size humans, not toy soldiers. How high, roughly speaking, do you think that bank is? Just as an estimate, because I'm only estimating it, but based on these normal size humans here. Could she have abandoned her family? Once again, why did Willow stay put? 11 to 12 feet, 12 feet. 10 feet. I would imagine 6 feet or higher. I would imagine, based on it's roughly twice these humans in it, because this dude is stood on the bottom and he's being helped up because he can't get up the bank on his own because it's a sheer drop. It's a cliff, like a 10-foot cliff. And then you've got another size human there, normal size human. I think it's roughly 2 humans length, just roughly 2 humans length. So 10 to 12 feet. So I think we've got Cassie again, maybe here. Cassie is trying her best to find a way down. She was up and down that bank. Then she gets bored. She hangs around a bit. Oh, and then I go talking about something else. But she was up and down that bank, wanting to jump in, wanting to get in. But she wasn't going to do it. People, it's no cliff. All right. Do you want to just jump 10 feet into that river? Just go, right? So you know where it is because I've got the map. The map's right here. Okay, so do you want to just go there? Jump 10 feet down into that river. Just go and do it and see how it feels. Just go and do it. See how it feels. It's the shape of a cliff, right? It's the shape of a cliff. It's a sheer drop down. It might only be 10 to 12 feet, but jump down, see how you feel. I'd think you break a leg, or at least your ankle. What if you went in backwards? What if you fell backwards? So does somebody want to just leap backwards, do a fancy dive in? What do you think you might do then? It's tiny. What? 10 foot? 10 foot. You can jump 10 feet, Lee. Are you a cat? Are you a cat that's learned how to type, like actual human words? I'll wait for your answer, Lee. Was she an acrobat? No, I don't think so. I don't know. She could have been. It would be like jumping. Right, if you live in a 2-story house, just go now and jump out of your bedroom window. Do it now and then come back and tell us how you feel. And then if you feel fine just jumping down, you know, just normally, and you don't break anything or strain anything, then dive down backwards. And now see how that feels. Some of these comments are that stupid. You kind of think, you know, they're daft enough to go and do it. And then you think, well, you can't fix stupid. So I don't know what to tell you. Water breaks the pain. Well, people have been saying that the water's only 40 centimetres deep. So is 40 centimetres of water, if it's true, then it's only 40 centimetres deep. Do you think 40 centimetres of water, which is about, I don't know, 15 inches, 30 centimetres is 12 inches, so 40 centimetres, I don't know, let's say between a foot and a half of water. It's obviously a bit deeper than that because this person, hold on, let's go back. This person here looks to me like they're a normal sized human, and it looks like it's about his arse. So maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet. So do you think that 2 feet of water is going to break your fall? Do you think it's knee deep? Okay. So knee deep water. So what I want you to do, Lee, if you live in a 2-story house, do it right now. I want you to fill, like, I don't know, if you've got a large trough or large container that you could put some water in up to your knees. Put that at the bottom of your bedroom window so that you can just fall into it and jump, because it's going to break your fall. It's going to break your fall, so you're not going to get injured at all. Not going to get injured at all. And then if you don't get injured, then I want you to go back and I want you to do it backwards. Jumping off your roof as a test. Exactly. It won't break your fall. Thank you, Jeanette. It won't break your fall. You're going to hit the bottom. Why do they say, right, in swimming pools, right? Right, in the UK, right, you go to a swimming pool and at the shallow end, it's about 3 foot, right? And then at the deep end, it's about, I don't know, 7 foot. It's a long time since I went to a swimming pool. But the deep end, where you're allowed to dive, and there's a little diving board or something generally, right? At the shallow end, what do you think the signage says? All right, for those of you in the UK, and there might be, this might be this case in other countries as well. So what do you think the signage says at the shallow end? Because, you know, these guys at the swimming pools realize that you can't fix stupid, but they also don't want to get sued. No diving, thank you. Why does it say no diving at the shallow end when the water is only 3 foot deep? Because what you're going to do, you're going to jump in off the edge. What you're going to do, you're going to hit the deck. You're in the bottom of the swimming pool and you're going to hurt yourself. No petting. Yeah, it does as well, doesn't it? Yeah. No diving because you hit the bottom. So no, water doesn't break your fall. We could go into the physics of why water doesn't break your fall when it's shallow, but we're not going to go there. Just believe me when I say the water doesn't hit you, break your fall for physics reasons when it's shallow. So jumping 10 feet is literally like jumping 10 feet. If it's shallow water, it's like jumping 10 feet in, you know, in any other way. Where does the river, when does that river warm up? Well, presumably when the weather gets warmer. Exactly, it's going to hit you like a brick. Exactly. Exactly, shallow water is less displacement. Therefore, you are going to hit the deck. So she drowned in 15 inches of water. Well, we don't know. We don't know. Well, because we don't know what state she was in. Presumably, if she fell down here, right? What did she do? Did she try to get up? We don't know the answer to that. But go and watch that video because I've put my theory together in that video. Of course you can drown in any depth. Of course you can. Of course you can. Go and put your face in a bowl of water, a small bowl of water, but that just covers your face, and get someone who's stronger than you to hold your head down and see how you fare then. Like I said, you can't fix stupid. Wonder why she went to the edge in the first place. Well, if you saw my footage from yesterday, I was stood about 3 feet from the edge, maybe, and Cassie jumped up at me, and I took a step back. If I'd have been right near the edge, I would have fallen in. I don't know. Maybe she was just, I don't know, playing around. No idea. Do it with ice, yeah. Do it with ice. She would have moved. I mean, even if she'd been unconscious, she would have moved. Why would an unconscious person move in a river? Yeah, I'm probably doing like the world a favour. You know, getting rid of a few of the ridiculous ones. I don't know. Oh dear. Was she being held down? Who knows? Maybe. 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 Or maybe she was unconscious after falling 10 feet. Am I though? What video today? The video that I put out about 3 hours ago, which is, just 1 second, I will show you. So that's the one we're watching now. This one. So I've got an entire playlist called Nicola Bulley Disappearance. So this one, it's had 5.7 views so far. So it's called Lancashire Mum's Mystery Deepens, Updates and Theory. So we've got an update from Peter and then my theory. That's the live I did last night. That's the short live that I tried to do at the scene while I was there. And then there's some shorter videos in that playlist as well. So, yeah, that's got some footage in it from me being there. That's got all the footage in it. That's got an edited version of the footage in it. So, there you go. Maybe she didn't. I mean, why do people fall off cliffs? You know, people fall off like 100-foot cliffs, don't they? People fall out of windows. Accidents happen. Accidents happen, and it's tragic. But not everybody who falls off a cliff, who falls out of a window, meant to do it. So, I don't know. Why do people step out in front of moving vehicles? Why do people, I don't know, why do people fall off roofs? Why do people, I don't know, just so many people who have tragic accidents, and it's nothing but an accident. Maybe she was playing with the dog and she didn't realise she was that close to the edge. Or maybe she was a couple of feet from the edge. Willow jumped up at her. She took a couple of steps back and she fell. Maybe she just fell over her own feet. I don't know. I don't know. Because that river, if you'd listened earlier, that river is very, very silty. And it's got a lot of sandbanks close to the, as you get closer to the estuary, it's got a lot of sandbanks. So that's reminding me, actually, just the last thing I want to do is show you Morecambe Bay if you're in the area, or for any creators that are planning to travel to the area. Anybody who wants to go and search the area. I'm going to tell you, please be careful. And this is not a joke. This is not a joke, right? Seriously, not a joke. When I tell you about Morecambe Bay, I'm not joking. People have died. people have died just by going for a day out in Morecambe Bay and going too far out, and the tide comes in that quick because it's just flat. The entire bay is flat. So once the tide comes in, it rushes in, and it rushes in faster than a man can run. We could get Usain Bolt to do a test, I guess, but, you know. All right, so this is the estuary. So if you get like about 8 miles out, you start getting these sandbanks. So this is Shard Bridge, where there was some activity last night. There was some police there last night at Shard Bridge. Hold on. Come on, you can do it. Oh, it's not taking me on. Oh, there we go. I don't like that Land Rover. It's following me. All right, so this is just before you get to the estuary. And what you can see is the rivers in channels. It's only when it's really, really high that these sandbanks get covered, because it's got so much sand in it, and then it's got deep channels. And you can see it really clearly from this bridge. And this isn't even up to, it's just coming up to the estuary now, like a mile out, whatever. But you can see, and it's so sandy and silty, there could be any number of places where a body could get stuck in sandbanks. Oh, I can't see my screen. Oh, dear me. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry. All right. Okay, so we'll do that again. So this is Shard Bridge. So this is just before you get to the estuary. And what you can see is that the river runs, but the bed is exposed. I mean, obviously, if it's really high tide, then these sandbanks get covered. And then you get these deep channels. And that's what the entire river's like. I mean, it's not the only river that's very silty like this. A lot of the rivers along the north coast of England are the same. It's okay. You can see it now, though, can't you? You can see it now. People die through silly accidents every day. They do. Unfortunately, they do. Michelle welcomes everyone's opinion as long as it's logical. Yeah, you can give me your opinion, but forgive me if I laugh at you. If it's a stupid one, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm sorry, but you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to voice your opinion in my chat. But I'm not going to take it seriously if it's not got logic based. And if you give me a theory, look, I've no skin in this game, right? Nicola Bulley is missing, right? We're trying to work out where she went and what happened. I've no skin in this game. If she was abducted, and I think there's strong evidence that you might be able to provide that she was abducted, then I'll listen to you. But it's got to have sense behind it. It's got to have logic behind it, at least. It's got to have your own research and due diligence behind it, not just, oh, this could have happened and that could have happened. Yes, it could. She could have been abducted by aliens. Bigfoot could have got her. Loch Ness Monster could be on vacation in northern England. Right? Some supernatural unicorns from the time slip that seriously people think there is. Nicola's fallen through a wormhole in time. Seriously. This has been voiced on Twitter. Seriously. So supernatural unicorns have come through this time void, and Nicola's jumped on their back and they've galloped away. Because sometimes when people hear galloping hooves, they don't think of horses, they think about supernatural unicorns coming through a time void and then disappearing somebody. Santa took her. Yeah, well, I mean, Santa, you know, he's got a pretty free calendar. He's got a free calendar till next December. So, yeah, could have done. She could be living up in Lapland. I mean, it's hilarious if it wasn't so damn tragic. So when the police say we don't want these wild speculations, that's what they're talking about, because it's hurtful, it's harmful. Right, so that's Shard Bridge. All right, so if we move on. So they were searching there yesterday. We don't know if it was to do with Nicola or not, but so you've got big sandbanks there. You've got a big sandbank there. They were searching there last week. Big sandbank there. And it's just all sand. It's just all sand. So, yeah, Peter with his... Peter's took a look at this and thought, oh, shit. And, yeah, decided to go and, you know, play in the paddling pool. All right. But if Peter finds her, good on him. Right, this is Morecambe Bay. All right, so the River Wyre feeds into the very south end of Morecambe Bay. So you've got Fleetwood on one side. I used to go to Fleetwood when I was little. Do you know what I did in Fleetwood when I was little? I stroked a lion cub. There was literally someone sat in the middle of Fleetwood, a young girl, not a young girl like a woman, but a young woman, sitting there with a lion cub on a lead. I'm not joking. Sat there in the middle of Fleetwood. It was the best thing that happened to me in my entire childhood. And then on the other side, you've got the posh side, which is Knott End. So Sally from the police said that they're searching, they particularly want searches between Knott End and Morecambe. So Morecambe's up here, presumably because it must be to do with the currents in the bay. When you stood 3 feet away from the river's edge, imagine if it's possible Willow ran up behind Nicola, knocked her behind a knee joint. She could have caused her to fall. Absolutely could have done, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the €2. Look, people. All right, see you, Anne-Marie. With Noel Edmonds. Yeah. She's with Mr. Blobby. Oh, Nicola, right. This alcoholic, she committed suicide because she's an alcoholic. I don't know who started that. I don't know who started that, but it gained some traction and it is not true. Where's the evidence that she's an alcoholic? And even if she was, right, it's not... Dear me. Right, so Knott End's here. And then all the way up to Morecambe. I'm presuming this particularly focusing on this area because of the currents. Up to Morecambe. But I would say if you're in any of these, if you're in travelling distance of the bay, of Morecambe Bay, then please do go and look. So Barrow, Dendron, Dalton, Ulverston. Ulverston's nice. I went to a wedding in Ulverston once. Flockborough, Cartmel, Silverdale. All these areas, very close to the bay. But please, 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 do not, if the tide's out, do not walk, like to try to walk right to the end of the bay here. Please don't. Please don't. It is so dangerous. There's quicksand. And as I said, the tide, once the tide turns, it rushes into the bay quicker than a man can run. Count to 10. It doesn't work. It makes me angrier. please, all seriousness, have a go at jumping into a bucket of water from your bedroom window or from your roof if you live in a single-story house. All day and all night for me, because that's just your own stupidity if you go and do that and then hurt yourself. But if you're going to Morecambe Bay because I told you to go to search and you walk out into the bay, you seriously could die. We do not want to put Lancashire Police and the Search and Rescue Services under any more stress than they're under right now. Do not say Michelle told me to go and search Morecambe Bay, so I did and then I died. Please don't. There's warnings all over the place about the dangers of Morecambe Bay. People have died, they've drowned, they've got stuck in quicksand, not been able to get out, and then they've drowned. Please don't. But searching the coastlines, right, a body can wash up. All sorts washes up. All sorts washes up. Right? If you live, I mean, I don't know what the currents are like. So if they believe that if she's come out of the river Wyre into the, this is the Irish Sea. Right, this is just part of the Irish Sea. So this is Morecambe Bay here. This is the Irish Sea. So you get Isle of Man and then Ireland. So you get the ferry at Evesham here. Go to the Isle of Man or go to Dublin for a day out if you want to. But yeah, presumably they've got reason to believe, like maybe they've got the advice of current specialists who like look at that, like they've got the Coast Guard and people, you know, they'll know where the currents go and where a body's most likely to be washed up. I don't know. But technically, I guess if you live down here, technically, I don't know if it's even possible, but all sorts. I go to Southport, that's the nearest beach to me. Southport, all sorts washes up. I've got a dolphin vertebra. I've got a dog skeleton. Not an entire dog skeleton, though. I did try to get... Kyle, do you remember that dog we found?
What dog?
That dog skeleton. Them bones we found on Southport Beach.
Yeah.
Well, good, weren't it, that day?
I wouldn't describe it as good.
He said he wouldn't describe it as good. He loved it. I've still got the pictures, Kyle. I could prove it to the chat that you were really enjoying your day that day.
I had a very good day, but finding dog skeletons not my favourite activity.
He says finding a dog skeleton is not his favourite activity. It might not be now, but when you were little, it was. Oh, he's going on a run. He's decided to go on a run. Did she have a Fitbit? She did. She did have a Fitbit. Sea currents run northwards. All right. Where do you think that dog came from? Like, because it washed up on Southport Beach. Where would that dog have come from, do you think? Like Liverpool or Wales? I don't know. Could have been washed out at Southport and then washed back in. I'm just curious. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Because someone lost the dog and then I've got like part of the skeleton in a box. It's kind of sad. I'd try to return it, but anyway, so if the current's running northwards, then it makes sense. If I'll believe you, then if it's likely to have gone into the bay, innit? It's horrible, 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 horrible to think about. What's actually happening? Have they found her? No, there's a press conference. Rewind, because I'm going to log off in a minute. Rewind, and you'll hear the press conference from earlier today. Oh, Southport's your town. That's right. 23 cockle pickers died in that bay. It's very dangerous because, like, sea creatures, you know, get left behind on the shores, and then people come along and pick them to sell them, like cockles and mussels and stuff, and they just went out too far and drowned. It's so sad. It could have been a builder at the house with a work van. All right. Let's explore that hypothesis then. Okay. All right. All right. We'll go back to St. Michael's. So that's what the police want you to do. If you've got access to Morecambe Bay, please do not walk out into the bay. Stick at the coast. Stuff will wash up on the coast, on the coastline. Do not walk out into the bay thinking you're a smart arse. Don't do it. All right. But I go to Hess Bank, which is a very rural area. It's wild and desolate in Hess Bank. Anyway, right. Where are we going? We're going back to Lancaster, not Lancaster, St. Michael's. All right, let's explore the work van hypothesis. Here we go. All right, so here's the bench. So here's the bench, here's the abandoned house. So let's work out how a workman with a work van is going to abduct Nicola from the bench. Shall we work out why that might not be a viable option? It's too open. Okay. Right. So does anybody want to expand? So workman with a van working on this house here spots Nicola and feels like abducting her. I'll zoom out a bit. Right, so decides just to, take his van, abduct her, and drive off with her. What's the problem with that theory? So the problem with that theory is, can a van get up enough speed to literally launch itself? Like, does it have wings? It takes flight across the river, right across the river, and lands right next to the bench. It's not that there's no roads nearby. It's that there's a river in between the bench and the house. We've already established that the bank is 10 to 12 foot high on either side. And it's a sheer drop. So, right, assuming that this van doesn't have wings and assuming it's just a regular work van, so this person is going to drive the van down the bank, down a sheer drop of 10 foot, hope that it lands on its wheels and not on its nose, drive across the river, right? Well, that could work. And then drive up a sheer 10-foot bank on the other side. Abduct a woman and then do it all again to get the other way, because there's no road access there. They can't get out onto Blackpool Lane. They'll have to go back the way they came. Do you think there's a problem with that theory? Yeah. All right. Any other theories you want me to consider? Look, you're entitled to put any theory you want, any theory at all in the chat. I'm open to all theories, but don't blame me if I laugh at you. I personally think that the supernatural unicorns coming through a time slip and, you know, this wormhole opens up in a parallel universe. I really like that hypothesis because it would mean that Nicola is still alive, living in a parallel universe right now. Probably being fussed over by supernatural unicorns. Meanwhile, back in the real world, her two daughters, aged 9 and 6, are really, really missing their mummy and want their mummy home. Her partner, who's been ridiculed, who's been vilely treated online, her sister, who's been vilely treated online, her parents and all her friends are missing her dreadfully. But we're open to every theory here. We're open to listen to anybody's opinion. He parks the van at the house where he's been working and where he's familiar with the area. Then he walks up to where she's sitting on the bench and takes her by gunpoint. Woof. Okay, right. All right. So so he's going to leave the van there, right? He's going to jump down a 10-foot sheer drop, wade across the river, climb up a 10-foot sheer bank. Then he's going to take his gun out. He's going to point it at Nicola and expect her then. He's going to have to manhandle her down a 10-foot banking, walk her across the river, and then manhandle her up a 10-foot banking to his van. All right. It's slightly more plausible than the van having wings, but I probably would think that if there was a man working in that area, he wanted to abduct someone, he'd choose someone who was more accessible. Spider-Man, there you go. There you go. We need to check the credentials of these workmen working on this property here. Spider-Man, number one suspect. It's Spider-Man. Spider-Man did it. There you go. We've solved it. We've solved it. Spider-Man did it. There you go. Oh, man. Tarot readers will probably say she'll be found near water. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've just said. He walks her to a... How does he walk her to a van? I've just explained. I've literally just answered that. Rewind 5 minutes. I prefer the unicorns as well. I do. Yes, but it was said by a friend the other day that it had not updated and since Tuesday. And she went missing on Friday. But they have, I think the police have said that they have been able to pull some information from her Fitbit. It was a naked, invisible man, surely. It was. It was a naked, invisible man with the powers of Spider-Man, riding a supernatural unicorn that had come through a wormhole from a parallel universe. Oh, yeah. It needs to be connected to a phone. Yeah, of course. Should it be netted as to capture Nicola if the worst has happened? How are you going to net an entire estuary? Is that even possible? I'm not sure I agree. I'd have to consult experts in the matter. In theory, sounds great, but in practice, I don't know how you would do it. It's a big estuary. I don't know how you would do it. Oh, come on. It's funny. Exactly. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go before I give myself a heart attack. Or I literally lose all my subscribers. Anyway, I'm going to go. So please, 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 if you've been following this case, and presumably you have because you're here in my chat, listening to Case on Nicola Bulley, please go and watch the video that I made earlier today. It's a half an hour of your time, but I think I've laid everything out as clearly as I can. And to me, unless significant new evidence comes to light, for me, it's a case of Occam's razor. But go and listen to what I have to say in that video. So thank you, everybody. All opinions welcome. But like I said, be prepared. Be prepared for a bit of snark. Thank you for the people who donated their hard-earned money. Thank you to the mods. And yeah, I'll see you very soon. Bye, guys.